Hey guys, what's going on? I have to give some updated picks for UFC 201. I know you guys probably won't have any time to watch this before the event, but just want to get them out there on video. If you haven't seen my full prediction video for UFC 201, that should be linked in the description. And then over the weekend, I'm planning to do my videos for Fight Night Rodriguez versus Caceres, UFC 202, and UFC on Fox Condit versus Maya. The three events coming up in August. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really getting burnt out on MMA. 6 events in July and now 3 events in August. After 7 years of being a diehard fan, this is just really kind of getting to the breaking point for me. But I'm gonna soldier on. But anyways, I got a couple of new matchups to do picks for here. This should be a pretty short video. Wilson Heiss was supposed to fight Demetrius Johnson. Is now on the prelims fighting Hector Sandoval, and I don't know Sandoval, so we're just going to have to skip right over this one. At welterweight, Ross Pearson versus Jorge Masvidal. This is a very interesting matchup, and the most important thing here for me is that it's at welterweight. Pearson has never been a welterweight in the UFC, I believe, maybe in his entire career. If this fight was at lightweight, I was actually probably going to pick Pearson. I know that's kind of a crazy pick, and I can't really justify it. Jorge Masvidal, I would without a doubt say, is a far more skilled fighter in every facet and has fought more elite competition than Pearson. And Pearson has had some very bad losses, especially the Evan Dunham fight. But Masvidal's problem has been that, well, first of all, Masvidal, he could have easily gotten the decision in all those fights that he's lost over the past couple of years. Iaquinta, Ben Henderson, and the most recent one, Lorenz Larkin, could have easily gotten the nod in all those fights. So he is a very good fighter, and he's been competing very well. He just, can't get the nod. But Masvidal's problem has been lacking a sense of urgency, not putting enough volume on guys, just not doing enough. And Ross Pearson, while he's been doing it against lesser competition, I think he's slowly and steadily he has been becoming a more consistent fighter, more consistent volume in his striking, and I thought he really showed up for that Will Brooks fight. I mean, I was expecting him to just get whooped, but he showed up, and I actually thought he kind of got robbed. I thought he won that fight. Hit Brooks with some good shots. Looked like he might have slightly wobbled Brooks. Was landing some knees in the clinch, and did get taken down, and that's where I think Masvidal would have the biggest advantage here, is if he committed himself to a wrestling game. But even against Brooks, I don't think Pearson did that badly. In the wrestling department, did get taken down, but it's not like he was allowed himself to get laid and prayed for the whole fight. So I was leaning Pearson. I thought he could have really pushed the pace. He still has pretty slick boxing in the pocket, and I thought just with volume, being more aggressive, he could have edged Masvidal for a decision. But I do not like his chances at welterweight. I think that's too new and wild a variable for me to pick Pearson here. Masvidal, already had the size advantage and should have an even bigger one at welterweight. I don't think Pearson's big enough for welterweight. I think that's probably going to slow him down. Although he might have a power advantage over Masvidal. Pearson, I think, does have more TKOs, at least in his UFC career, definitely. But I have to take Masvidal. Like I said, just better in every facet of the game, especially if he uses the wrestling. I don't know. Now that I said that, I kind of feel like Pearson, an aggressive Pearson who throws a lot of volume, really pushes the pace. I think might be able to edge Masvidal, but like I said, at welterweight, that's too big a variable for me to take Pearson. And Pearson is a guy who has been pretty easily hurt against aggressive fighters. Not that Masvidal's an aggressive fighter, but he can be a finisher. He is a precise technical striker, and I wouldn't be surprised if he clips Pearson. But it is an interesting matchup, and I do think people shouldn't be so quick to write Pearson off here. I mean, everyone was so high on Will Brooks coming in, saying he was going to be a champion, and I thought Pearson, could have won that fight. I scored it for him, so Pearson's I think a live dog here. But I'm taking Masvidal. All right, and then at flyweight, I don't know if this matchup was on the card when I did my initial video, or if I just skipped over it or what. But Ryan Benoit versus Freddie Serrano on the main card, which is pretty ridiculous. I'm taking Benoit here. Freddie Serrano, he is an Olympian from Colombia, I believe. But this guy, he should have won the fight against Diego Rivas on, I think it was against Diego Rivas on Tough Line America. But, he still struggled so much that he ended up losing the decision. One he should have won, but, it was close enough that he lost, and that just doesn't cut it. Benoit, he's had setbacks, got finished fairly easily by Ben Nguyen. He lost to Josh Sampo, I think, in his UFC debut. But the guy is a capable fighter. You saw the fight-ending power. When he was getting destroyed the entire fight against Sergio Pettis. He has power, and I don't trust Serrano to get it done here if he couldn't even win a fight on Tough Line America. And then in the UFC, he knocked out his fellow castmate from Tough Line America, Bentley Seiler. It was a nice uppercut knockout, but before that wasn't getting anything done in that fight. And then against Yao Zakai, took him down, I think broke his arm, and that's about as irrelevant a level of competition as it gets in the UFC. So I'm taking Benoit here. All right, and then at bantamweight, Francisco Rivera versus Eric Perez. Did make my prediction for this one. I picked Rivera, but I think I have to change my pick here. I have to go with Perez. Rivera's Achilles' heel has always been the wrestling and the ground game. Think of the Mizugaki fight, even his most recent fight against Brad Pickett, lost because Pickett was able to, hit some takedowns throughout the fight. He is an improving fighter. One of those guys who seems to always be, adding skills and getting a little sharper. Has really developed a pretty dangerous striking game. I thought he had the best performance of his career against Alex Caceres, knocked him out very quickly and easily in that fight, so he's very dangerous. And I said in my initial prediction that I just thought Rivera would be able to, he would have a big advantage on the field, would probably keep it there, but when I think about the guy's lack of a ground game and not great takedown defense, I think Eric Perez, who, if he has any really kind of dominant skill, it's his takedowns, and he hits them pretty cleanly. So I have to go with him here. I thought in the Taylor Lapilus fight, it's kind of a similar matchup. Lapilus not as experienced as Rivera, but maybe even a more technical striker and certainly a dangerous one. And we had seen Lapilus get the win over Yuta Sasaki, a very dominant win. I think he was even taken down in that fight and got back up. And then we saw Sasaki, how good his ground game is against Gates. So for Perez to already have been a guy like that using a wrestling game, I think he can do a similar thing to Rivera here. Rivera is very wild, goes for broke early in fights. I think that will probably play into Perez's takedown game. If it stays on the feet, though, I do think Rivera wins and has the advantage there. But I think Perez gets this done with takedowns, out-wrestles Rivera for a decision. All right. Is that it? The Ian McCall, Justin Scoggins fight. I think I might have just skipped over that one in my initial video. But the fight is not happening. I do want to give a quick pick for that. I would have taken McCall. I just think he's a more skilled fighter. Has proven himself against better competition. Scoggins is very skilled as well. Both guys have good movement, but Scoggins in a couple of his wins, the Josh Sampo win, and then early in his UFC career, Will Campuzano, those fights he wasn't very dominant, and if he's not able to just impose his wrestling game on guys like in the Vasilik fight or his last fight against Ray Borg, he just seems to be kind of floundering out there in the cage. And McCall, has a good in and out striking game. I think he would have had the speed advantage and just a volume advantage. I think that would have been enough to edge Scoggins. And against Ray Borg, I thought that was the best performance of Scoggins' career, but it was against an opponent with a very singular game plan, a guy who was just looking to take him down. Ray Borg certainly won't have the striking skills of McCall. McCall had a good round against Lineker. I don't think Scoggins has the aggression or the power to throw McCall off his game like Lineker did. McCall has pretty good time takedowns as well. I would have taken McCall to win a decision. Scoggins still pretty green. We saw that against Moraga where he's doing really well in the fight, and after getting stuck in that guillotine and getting out of it a couple times, shot in and Moraga choked him out. So if it was just a range striking game, I think McCall could play the scorecards a little better than Scoggins there, who is not always pushing the pace and not always fighting in a very dominant fashion, even though he is skilled and unorthodox and can find openings. I just think McCall's better at that, so I would have taken McCall to win a decision. All right, guys. So kind of a mess of a video here, but wanted to get my picks out there for the new matchups here for this card. Like I said, I will be back hopefully within the next couple of days for the 3 events in August. And follow me on Twitter. My link is in the description. Take care, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.